So I was woken up at 9 a.m. this morning, text from my buddy telling me that everything we were thinking about for the draft, everything we thought was for sure was going to happen, yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. Um, Tennessee, they made it known they wanted to try to trade that pick for, quote, a king's ransom, but the chances of doing that for any team were kind of unrealistic. I mean, Dallas didn't really show any interest in trading up. I don't think Cleveland would have traded up from 2 to 1. Philly doesn't have a second round pick to trade up, so it made it really, really fucking difficult. And plus, with the packages we've seen for for massive trade ups for star QBs before, was anyone willing to do that? I mean, we saw how much the Rams got from the Redskins to get RG3. But at about 9:30 this morning, 6 a.m. on the West Coast, like I said, everything we thought just went to shit because, ironically, it's the LA Rams, the same team that fleeced the Redskins for RG3, that are going to trade up. It's official now. They no longer have the 15th pick. They now hold the first pick, and they somehow gave up less than they got for RG3. But they still gave up a hell of a lot. Looking in front of me right now, the Titans will get the 15th pick, the 43rd pick, the 45th pick, the 76th pick, a first and a third next year. Meanwhile, the Rams will also get something back. That's something Washington didn't get. Washington did not get a single pick back. They just got the second pick. The Rams will get the fourth pick in this year's class, as well as obviously the first pick, and the sixth pick. So they get picks 113, and 177. So this trade's beneficial for about an hour as of thinking about this, because the last hour has been me sitting there going, what the fuck is going on? How does this affect the draft? Everyone knows that Cleveland, or at least Cleveland, was making it sound like they really liked Carson Wentz. They may still be able to get Carson Wentz. I don't think that this is a move up for Wentz, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're willing to trade all of that to go get a Division I AA quarterback, and yes, you can make all the arguments you want. He won back-to-back titles, and he's a physical freak. He's got Cam Newton type traits. Yes, but he's got Cam Newton type traits against mostly guys that are going to be selling insurance and running museums, and yeah, I don't give a shit. Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not the best quarterback in this class. He's not even the second best quarterback in this class. It goes Goff, then Lynch, then Wentz. So if you want to trade all the way from 15 to 1 to get the third best quarterback in this class, then I guess you're doing what you probably should do. You're trading up, and you're just going to be content with sitting there for the next couple of years. You have just sitting there in mediocrity. But the problem is that if you do trade up and you get Wentz and it fails, like, I don't know, like, one, you're trading up for someone who probably shouldn't start first day in the NFL anyways, whereas with Goff, you can start him right away. He's ready. He's faced a good enough competition. Who was the best team that Carson Wentz played last year? Jacksonville State. Who were some of the best teams that Jared Goff played last year? Texas. Texas was on the lower end of the spectrum. He played teams like Texas, San Diego State. He faced Utah, USC, Oregon. Like, I think there's a clear divide as far as who faced what, as far as talent. So I think who had better success against better competition? Goff. You trade up for Goff. That's what I would do. I'm just saying, but my opinion aside, how does this affect the draft? All right. So let's say that they trade up and they do take Goff. Cleveland at 2 can still get Wentz. That also means that Ramsey and Tunsil are going to be there at 3 and 4, which could mean Tunsil at 3 to the Chargers because their offensive line is terrible. Ramsey at 4 to the Cowboys. 5, it probably goes back down to what it would have been anyways. Miles Jack, Joey Bosa, the conversation for Jacksonville. But, I mean, let's not discount the fact that there could be another trade. I don't think Philly's, going to trade up, but what if San Francisco? What if San Francisco decides they want, all right, what if San Francisco decides they want the second pick? Then that's another trade. So you have 1 and 2 being traded, and I could see that happening too. It came out yesterday that the Browns are definitely testing the waters at a trade. They've got D. Podesta, who comes from a baseball background. The idea of quantity of picks over, being the thing that, being the hot thing. I mean, it's the Browns, they'll fuck it up anyways, but, Now let's flip the spectrum. Let's say that they trade up for Wentz. So Wentz will go number 1. And which will also mean that Tennessee will probably get 2 top 10 picks next year. So Wentz will go number 1. Cleveland won't take a quarterback at 2 because their golden boy is off the board. So that could be Tunsil right there. And then I think, honestly, if Wentz is the presumed number 1 pick after this trade, which, I mean, some sites say that the Rams traded up for Goff. Some sites say they traded up for Wentz. I don't know at this point. I don't know. If it were me, I'd trade up for Goff because I think, honestly, when you look at the tape, when you look at everything else, when you factor in the tape, the measurables, the combine, the pro day, and the level of competition, Wentz is a mid-first round quarterback. But crazy shit happens in the draft. So, if Wentz is the pick, nothing really changes. I think you can honestly just swap what everyone thought with picks 1 and 2 anyways. Because the Browns could use an offensive tackle. They could, Joe Thomas is at the end of his career. Larry Tunsil can take over for him eventually. Joe Thomas may also want out of Cleveland eventually so he can go, win some fucking football games. But it's just a huge shakeup in the draft that happened this morning. I don't think anyone expected the Rams to try to actually move up to 1. I figured at most they'd maybe try to move up to maybe 6 to try to get ahead of San Fran and Philly, but that was about as high as I was willing to say. I don't think anyone expected 15 to 1. That is a very big jump. So yeah, that was a bit of a rant. That was a bit of a ramble, but hopefully you got my point. Is that this trade can either switch up everything or really just switch up nothing depending on who the Rams have as their number 1. Like I said, if it's Wentz, nothing really changes. If it's Goff, then Wentz goes 2 anyways, and now you have possibly the top 3, 4, 5 guys in the class that are still going to be there at pick 6, 7, 8 potentially. It's a weird draft as far as the layout. And who has what pick. But hey, we are getting ridiculously close now. We're 14 days away, exactly 2 weeks. I have some content for you guys. I'm still in the process of fixing my board, fixing my positions. I want to have everything finalized by the 18th. And then next week I have something really special planned. And you'll find that out when it is. So yeah, look, I'm gonna try to get some videos up about final rankings. I may even post my final big board just so you guys know as well. But yeah, I just figured my thoughts on possibly the biggest trade this year, or just another trade if it's a Wentz trade.